Good morning. To everybody that's here. Hope you're doing fine. There we go. Say for some reason, Ecamm and Stream Deck was not working together at all. But it's working now. Morning, Fabrice. So this week I got my iPad keyboard and have not yet received my iPad. It's supposed to come next week still. The real kicker on that, is just what I'm checking right now, is that overnight when they tried to authorize my payment, it's a pre-order for something that was like months ago, a Mac Sales USB 4 hub went through. So I need to go back in and make sure I actually have enough money in there. Hey, are you? Hey, Michael. Just making sure I got enough money back in my account for the iPad again, because something else came out, of course. Hey, Hugo. How's it going? So today we're going to look a little bit at syncing Obsidian settings, and I'm going to take a look at a book called A Life Lived Remotely. And then I'm around to answer your questions if you want about whatever, or I'll work on the Obsidian course, which actually made good progress on yesterday. I was doing some stuff that was fairly processor intensive for work, and my computer was kind of stuck all day doing that. So it's waiting for my payment. The M1 iPad Air. The real kicker is I could actually go into Guildford today and pick one up. Let's look at my account first. You guys see the new Touch ID keyboards that came out? Those are pretty cool. I don't know that I'd want to use one because where are all my orders? Ah, there you go. Now it actually told me the price fully, properly. It's always hard to find the price on Apple stuff by the end. Like, it's just always hard to figure out exactly how much something is going to cost, because they don't really show you the tax as well or anything like that, so it just takes a bit. Let's get this set up. There we go. This should be here Monday. really want to drive an extra $50 or $35 in gas. There you go. So I've now paid for the iPad officially. Last week I ordered an M1 iPad Air with 1 terabyte for the 16 gigabytes of RAM, really. So. Although I think this week I could go to buy. At least as of last night I could have. Yes. Yeah, I know that a new one doesn't work with it, unfortunately. That sucks. The new keyboard. So, like, I could have ordered and picked it up, but I don't know, which I probably would have done last Friday, but I'm not going to do today. So, that's it. You got the 2020. Yeah, okay. Do you like the 2020? I have the 2018 here. That's what I have as my main iPad. It is not my main device, unfortunately, because I just have some, like I ran a terminal script all day yesterday, basically, to compress, I don't know, like 45,000 images or something. I just had to let that run. So, and compressing ping images actually takes a bit of work. All right, so let's talk about syncing Obsidian settings. Man, there's so much air leakage today in my office, unfortunately. I don't know if you can hear the slight little whine, but there's a little whine of air leakage in my office right now, unfortunately. So as usual, we'll do a little bit of silence, then I will start at 7:30. Then we'll get into talking about syncing Obsidian settings. I should look up in Safari. Sync, $4, build monthly. All right. Welcome. Today we're going to look at Obsidian Sync and why I think you should use it, why I think it's a better option than iCloud or any of the other alternative services. Before we do that, I wanted to let you know there's a few ways to support the channel. Probably the biggest thing if you're watching this video on Obsidian is to take my course on getting started with Zettelkasten. You can find that on Skillshare. And if you go to curtismchale.ca/Skillshare, you will get taken there. I get an affiliate fee, stuff like that. There's also a link directly to the course below. We stream Fridays at 6 a.m. Pacific, where I do these videos and I talk about Obsidian and answer your questions. That's it. Let's look at Obsidian Sync. So Obsidian Sync. If you go to obsidian.md, click the sync thing, which probably obsidian.md/sync, you will find out that there's Obsidian Sync. And it costs $4 a month if billed annually. Always remember that. So with 50% early bird pricing for a limited time. And so I pay monthly for this. It's private and fully encrypted. It gives you like version control, basically, where it finds old files, not files, it keeps old files, stuff like that. That's the basics of Obsidian Sync. And you can access that in your, oh man, I got a lot of plugins. You can access that in your plugins. You got to turn it on first. And then you can pick your remote vault. Currently I'm syncing my status. I've labeled this as my M1 Air. And so someone in the stream wants to say that in Japan time, it's Friday at 2200 Japan Standard Time, by the way. So if you're in Japan, that is when I stream. 6 a.m. is 2200 Japan Standard Time. So Ryu, here's a question for you. Is that standard time notation? It's 2200, not 10 o'clock? Just wondering. So, because around here it'd be 10 o'clock, not 2200. Although I always use, I guess, the 24-hour clock. So you can view and restore your deleted files, sync activity, right? Exclude folders. If there's something you don't want to be synced because it's really private and you just don't want it on anyone's system, you can turn that off. You can choose, like, these are the ones I don't want to do. So you can see I have everything selected because I just want it all selected. You can sync images if you want it, sync audio files. I don't have audio files, so I've left this off. Because there is actually like a record feature in Obsidian if you want that. You can sync videos. Again, I don't have any videos. I don't really store any PDFs in here. That's what I use DevonThink for. And I'll put a link up above to my two uses. What I use DevonThink for and what I use Obsidian for. Short version, DevonThink is for other people's thoughts. Obsidian is for my thoughts. And sync all other unsupported file types. So that's it. Next up, here's where I really think the power comes from Obsidian Sync, because you can sync all these other things. Everything I've showed you so far, you can do that with iCloud, with Dropbox, with Box.com, with any other web dev server, whatever supports syncing of files. And I used iCloud for a while. It was great. No real problems there. But here's where you get the real power of it. Syncing your settings. So I can sync my main settings. I switched over to this theme yesterday, which is Cybertron, I believe. Yeah, Cybertron. And this will now sync over to my iPad. Appearance settings. I can choose or choose not to sync this, right? And I can, again, on my iPad, these are all the same settings. I can choose or choose not to sync these things. Themes and snippets, hotkeys. That's excellent. Like being able to switch your hotkeys back and forth and have them show up on both devices. Perfect. Means I don't have to reset them twice, which you do have to do with iCloud or Dropbox or any other system. My core plugin list, core plugins, and community plugins and installed community plugins. And that's really it. That's what I think the biggest power is in syncing with Obsidian Sync is the settings. Syncing your settings has just been stellar for me. It's been like a good choice. Now there are a few plugins that are not going to work on my iPad. Very few, almost everyone does. So I'd go in thinking that it's going to work and only one or two don't work. The other good thing is you're supporting Obsidian and you're paying $5 a month, $4 a month, early bird pricing to actually continue to support the application. Because one thing to remember is if you are not the client, then you are the product. And in this case, I am the client because I'm paying the money, which is excellent. So I suggest that Obsidian Sync is the best option for syncing your files. That the other ones are okay. And I suppose some people have like real... if you're going to run your own sync server or something like that, that has your own special encryption on it because you have something you really need to be careful with, that's great. But Obsidian is end-to-end encrypted. It does allow you to provide the encryption key, so I provided my own encryption key to it. And I trust them. And I also don't have enough, like there's nothing super sensitive, or if anybody got it, like the worst that would be is I said something, I was grumpy about my wife that day, so that's probably the worst that could happen. My wife would say, oh, you're grumpy with me that day, and I'd say yes. Funny enough, after like almost 20 years, I'm sometimes grumpy with you. She's sometimes grumpy with me. That's really it. If you like the video, thumbs up below. Subscribe, hit the bell. YouTube will let you know something happened, but really turn off your notifications on your devices because you got kids to hang out with or books to read, stuff like that. Other ways to support the channel is take one of my courses on Skillshare. You can find all the links to those below. You're most likely interested in the one about getting started with Zelcasting, which is on Skillshare. We stream Fridays at 2200 Japan Standard Time, if you want to know, or 6 a.m. Pacific. That's it. Oh, and there's a Discord channel. You can join that as well below. Have an excellent day. Right, Hugo. What's the lull for my wife being grumpy? Trust me, I'm an idiot sometimes. She's grumpy with me. With good cause. With good cause. Your garlic aioli recipe? Yup. I think some people that they say that are worried about like end-to-end encryption and stuff like that, they really don't have any reason to be. It's just like, oh, we must be end-to-end encrypted. And you're like, really? You're going to steal my recipes? Like, that's it. So, yeah, there's just nothing in here that's... So it's not strictly true. You might guess, I guess you might get a note about one of the employees I supervised, but all the notes are like, talk to them about something, like it's not the actual details of anything. So that might be the biggest thing. Job descriptions, the people I hire. That's what you get. Next up, A Life Lived Remotely by Siobhan McEwen. This is a really cool book. This book was significantly deeper than I expected. So I thought it was just about a remote work. She was with the WordPress project at some point, did content or something. I actually don't remember how I came across it. Maybe on the accessibility team. Anyway. And yeah, I came across it and said, oh, that looks interesting. Let's do it. And it is so much deeper than just like a here's how you work remotely well. It's like goes into like economic policy and other stuff. A really good book. So yes, this plugin settings across devices is so nice, Hugo. I love it. Syncing themes is excellent. I just like it. So Dan, I pay for Obsidian Sync for the setting syncs. They also support, like, yeah, I'm a supporter as well, whatever the $50 I paid. But I still sync to, so I lose everything if I switch it all to Obsidian Sync. No, you don't. Don't sync to both things at once though, because it's gonna just create issues. It'll just create issues. So. All good, Dan. Don't worry about the misspellings. My friend was dictating to me a text from his car and with his little children, and it came with a bunch of swear words by accident. It was pretty funny. My response was, aren't you with the kids? Yes. So, I know, little. I think his youngest is like my middle child's age, so 7. 7, 14, and 16 or something like that. So, all good. I've totally sent them to my wife that are like random. She's like, I don't even know what that meant. I don't know what it meant either. Dictation is hard. It doesn't work nearly as well as you think it should. So Life Lived Remotely by Siobhan McEwen. There we go. We'll do the standard silence. Then we'll talk about the book. Welcome. Today we're going to talk about this book from Siobhan McEwen called A Life Lived Remotely. I heard about this book because she was involved with the WordPress project. I don't remember in what capacity. I think it maybe was accessibility, documentation, something like that. And I am a WordPress developer, or a web developer that specializes in WordPress. So I saw it there. What I thought this book was going to be was just a book about, doing good remote work. And it is so much more than that. So let's dig into exactly what it is. But before that, a couple ways to support the channel. If you like the videos, you subscribe below. You can hit the thumbs up if you like them. You can also go to curtismchale.ca/Skillshare, where you can join Skillshare, become a student of mine. I have a course on Zettelkasten in there, where I talk through like how I take book notes, stuff like that. That's part of it. Now let's talk about A Life Lived Remotely. So clearly, as ever, I'm never going to cover everything in the books because there's just so much in these books. The purpose of this book is to talk about how remote work has changed the context in which we work. And it talks about a lot of different things, about ideologies and how, I guess we'll get to this deeper later, but how idolizing entrepreneurship idolizes failure and makes it normal for companies to never support their employees in many ways, which is contrary to so I'm 41, generations before me or generation before that, when people, expected their company to support them. But what she really starts by talking about is how we construct our identity based on work that we do, and how that is often the question, right? Often when you meet somebody, you're like, hey, what do you do for a living? And that is not, in some ways, not great. Like, that really sticks our identity to what our work is and who we are at work, and doesn't let us have anything more. I actually really try to fight this. I try to ask, like, what was the thing that made you most excited this week? Or tell me about your hobby, something like that. I really try to not ask that, hey, what do you do for work? Because it doesn't matter. Like, I think that there's far more interesting things that people do outside of work. Or there should be anyways. That's something else that McEwen really dives into, that we used to have hobbies, we used to have all these other things, and now we just work all the time. Specifically, she talks about remote workers have been found to work far more and get less credit for it because they're not in the office, so you can't just see them sitting there. But to show that they are productive, they will work more. And they just have to put more hours in instead of being able to have butt-in-the-seat time as a de facto for productivity, which a lot of bad managers do, right? Butt-in-seat time. If you're sitting here, then you are productive. I was just listening to Jason Snell talk about that when he used to work at Macworld, and one of the people he reported to basically said, "Hey, when I come in from the East Coast once a month, I want to see heads." And that's it. And he never knew, so everybody just had to be in the office most of the time so that he could see heads, which is dumb. Like, he'd walk through and then walk back out, Jason said. It's just ludicrous. So I'm out in Chilliwack, and I have been told more than once that I have to drive to Vancouver if someone wants to hire me. And I'm always like, you want to hire me? And like, I don't want to do any of this, so I clearly don't drive to Vancouver. Another thing she talks about is the fact that freelancers are juggling multiple paying jobs and multiple paying clients to make ends meet. This increases the multitasking that many freelancers have to do, and is different in many ways than people in a traditional job that are juggling different projects, possibly to different department heads depending on what level of the organization you sit at. A lot of people in an organization, I guess there's more income stability, although in some ways is there more stability because you have one person to let you go and then you lose all your income. So I always wonder if a job, which I do have currently, is actually more secure than not having a job, because one person lets you go and you're just gone. When you have 3 clients, then you just have 3 clients and you're good to go. Although most of the time when I was freelancing up till February for the last 10 years, I really had one big client at a time. So I did not have like multiple, like 6, 7, 8 clients, little ones, because that was never efficient financially. Another thing she also showed, McEwen, is that if you do work overtime, you're likely to be underpaid for it or unpaid for it, whereas in the office, people can actually see you, so you get credit and paid for it, which this sucks. That's just it. So, and then readers are also treated to a long discussion about how companies no longer think they owe employees anything, how they don't owe the benefits, they don't owe them stability, they don't owe them any money for training. All of these things, benefits, your training, everything like that has been pushed onto the employees. This is something you are now responsible for. But conversely, the companies want anything of benefit that you can produce in any fashion. They want to own every aspect of it. So they expect all of your creativity, all of your time. They don't want you to have any, you don't have a family, you don't have anything like that. You have to continue to produce everything all the time, and they want to give you as little as possible in return for it. And even your wages have stagnated since the 70s to the 80s. Wages have stagnated. They have not continued to rise with productivity. They have stagnated. So the final point that I'm going to talk about is McEwen's discussion of the valorization of failure as something we should aspire to, and of entrepreneurship as something we should aspire to. I'm sure you've all heard, fail fast, fail hard, fail often. And this lionization of entrepreneurship hides the fact that more people are going to live in permanently precarious employment by doing this. Because out of all the success stories you hear, you're like, there's so many. That's like a small fraction of the people that actually succeeded at it. And in fact, by doing this, it makes being the master of your own work, your own domain, something that everyone should strive for, and everyone should not strive for this. We need employees, we need people that are less proactive, we need people to do, the more mundane jobs, I would say, even in programming, the more mundane programming jobs to do the maintenance. Maintenance is a big thing. If you have read anything about city structure, stuff like that, maintenance is the problem. We never want to do maintenance. We always want to push forward on something new. And realistically, we need to maintain what we have because it's all falling apart. So the big question is, should you read A Life Lived Remotely by Siobhan McEwen? Well, I expected a light read about how to work remotely well. I got a much deeper book. I'm definitely going to have to read this a second time to get all of her points. So I'm going to say yes. It's a little bit of a memoir about how she worked through and became a remote worker, how she kind of wrestled through digital nomad lifestyle. She talks a bunch about the economics of digital nomads and how it's not as good as you think for the places they go. There are some benefits to it, but there's some that are not. So I'm gonna have to read it again, and so I would recommend that you read it too. It's a really good book, a lot deeper than you'd expect, talking about economics, ideologies, and the economics of digital work. So that's it. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, thumbs up below. If you loved it, subscribe, hit the bell. YouTube will let you know something happened, but turn your notifications off on your devices. You got other things to do, like read books. So other ways to support the channel are to go to Skillshare, curtismchale.ca/Skillshare. You take one of my courses. You can find direct links to them below, like my Zettel casting course, where I'll talk about how to take book notes. We stream Friday 6 a.m. Pacific, or 2200 Japan Standard Time. And what else do we do? Discord channel link below. Have a good day. Okay. Hugo, working extra hours was so tough in the beginning of the pandemic. I left the Bay Area and moved to Florida permanently while working remote. Things are better now, though. Yeah, so the pandemic for me didn't change a lot, to be honest. So my kids came home from school after spring break. And that was about it. That's the only thing that changed. My wife stopped working, but she was on, we had CERB in Canada, so she got $2,000 a month. So it didn't really change her income. I gotta sneeze. Didn't really change our income, and I actually could work a little more because she was here. That's all that changed for me. Not much, so. Not much, but I know, like, I was totally lucky. Like, we helped support some friends of ours who were out of work for a while. They could collect CERB, but that was $2,000 a month. Was not the entirety of their income replaced. So we took them groceries a bunch of times and helped them with their mortgage payment a couple times. So because we had the spare funds to do it, thankfully. Yeah, it was tough on a bunch of people. Yeah, Hugo. So you say a bunch of your Bay Area friends are trying out digital nomad thing in Mexico and Madeira. They'll get a kick out of the book. They will. There is a good long discussion about the economics of it and how it can bring up, hey Thomas, how it can bring up the technology sectors in that area because digital nomads require that. But at the same time, in some areas, it actually prices locals out of any of that technology at the same time because they can't actually afford the same fees that the digital nomads could. So that's interesting. Have fun with your meetings, Thomas. Mondays is my meeting day, like all day. I basically do nothing except go to meetings all day. Yes, my friends and I are really good friends. Like, my kids stayed at their house when their kids are a little older than mine. We have a third one. They only have two, so my kids stayed there when we had a baby, one of them. Yeah, when we were homeless for a bit because we were between places, then we came back and we stayed with them for 3 or 4 days. And yeah, good friends. Good friends of ours. So it's good to have friends like that, like friends that you know, like, will just be there for you and do what you, like I said, would like help pay your mortgage with, like, I don't expect anything back from them for it. They're friends. This is really what community should do, right? Like, that's what we should be doing, like, in general, right? When I say I have a dog, it's the same friends. I have their dog because I do. Because they're out camping or something. Okay, so I missed some questions last week. So let's talk about some of these questions. We have one here, and it says right there, I see you have different Kanban boards for different areas of focus. Is there a specific reason you divided the boards? I'm planning to use a single board, but I've got a lot of piddly tasks which might get overwhelming because using a single board leads to less frictions, decisions. Oh, Thomas, Friday's your light meeting day. Yeah, my Monday meetings aren't too bad. I have we have like a company-wide meeting, and then I have a one-on-one with one of my direct reports, and then we have we call it tactical. It's not really a tactical meeting, but like the project managers and all the department heads can just catch up on like what's happening with this client. I need this information, stuff like make decisions real quick. Like if I have a bunch of things that come up on Thursday, we can usually just resolve them all Monday. That one's only about 45 minutes to an hour usually. And then I have a one-on-one with my boss. But like there's just no time between anything. So. And then what I got, Tuesday morning stand-up meeting with my team. Thursday morning stand-up meeting, and then a one-on-one with my one of the other people that are my direct reports. That's my standard meetings. And then the biggest thing is that sometimes I get pulled into a bunch of client meetings in a week. So. Okay, so this, Kanban boards, I have different ones. Why do I use a bunch of different ones? Just because it separates them. So, like to go back camping, I need to fix some elastics, I need to wax some tent zippers, stuff like that. I need to purchase some more tent pegs, purchase large nails. So when you go camping, in some spots here, they have like a hard gravel pad you're supposed to set up on, and like aluminum tent pegs just don't work. So I buy like, 18-inch long nails and hammer them in. So if I want to work on camping stuff, that's there. If I want to work on just like general home things, then it's right here, right? Still haven't done this, even though I need to. I'll try to do that today, maybe. And I need to hang the kids' hammock. So I'm actually bad at doing some of these. I need to find a better way, maybe. This is just general, like, what do I have to do for home chores? I should really pick one thing a weekend to do it. Arcantum writing, this is writing for my job. I blog for them sometimes, and then these are just general things in Obsidian I should do. So I divide them up because there's different areas of focus, and sometimes I want to do one, sometimes I want to do other things. That's why I divide them up. If you have lots of piddly tasks, then yeah, use one board, go for it. Like, that is great. Can you tag and color code in Obsidian? It'd be nice if you could tag and color code and filter. So I know in stuff like Trello, you can filter them based on colored tags and stuff. And then you could like say, I want to look at home stuff right now and filter out and only see your home tasks. So that'd be nice. But you can't, I can see. Okay, I got a Twitter question. Do I use DevonThink as a citation manager, or do I use a separate tool for that stuff? I don't do citation management. I just don't do it. So I don't need to do it. DevonThink is for other people's thoughts, and I'm just gonna open DevonThink and try to make sure I have no personal information showing up first. So Richard, I was super annoyed that you're late. No, that's fine. Whatever. DevonThink is for other people's thoughts. There we go. So yeah, I don't do any type of citation management. Like when I do this article here, I'll just create a note for it. Where do I find those notes? At the top, I'd put a header like this, right? So title, the authors, the URL to it, the DevonThink link to it. So I can like click that link, paste that link into search in my iPad into anything and get back to this paper, and any tags for it, and my notes. So yeah, that's what I do. I don't need to do citations really. So Brian Jenks, is it Brian Jenks? Brian Jenks has some on that, I think. Yeah, this one right here is what I'm thinking of. Comprehensive Obsidian and Zotero workflow for Zettelkasten and Evergreen Notes. So that's what I'd recommend right there. Look at that maybe, but I don't really do it because I don't need to. I mean, I have no APA citations, but I don't do it because I just don't. So anyone in chat has questions about Obsidian, ask away. I should make good progress on the Obsidian course this week. Because I was just waiting for that thing to process all day. So I used my iPad and wrote a whole bunch on the Obsidian courses. So Obsidian aliases. Oh, I've already got this all written. Nice. That's all written because I did it as a video. So you actually see some videos for my upcoming Obsidian course as I'm like, wow, I don't have a lot to do. I really don't have a ton to do anymore, which is nice. Obsidian workspaces. Yeah, I want to go through that first. I've never really looked at workspaces in Obsidian, so let's look at that today. What are workspaces? Save and load workspaces. How do you use workspaces? Is anyone here using workspaces? Basically, it saves my state when I was working on stuff like that. The question is, how will I use it? Will I use it? How are other people using this? Yeah, so like if I wanted this layout, if I wanted like this, but with like a split and my daily notes file in it, like it would save the layout like this so I could get back to it easily, right? So the question is, what layout do I have that I need to get to regularly? What layout do I have that I need to get back to regularly? I don't know. Let's see how other people are using it. Smash the like button. That's the video I'm going to watch. Hugo, I use one for writing, keeps all the sidebars closed, and one for meeting notes where I can see the calendar. Maybe that. Okay, maybe see a writing one. My writing workspace would take me to what? It would collapse the sidebars, and it would take me to my writing Kanban board. I could see that. All right, take me here. Collapse the sidebars like this. So I'm just only looking at the writing. I could see that. Okay. Yeah, it definitely would be quicker to do that. So how do you get work? What did you say? I wonder if you can get a cool. I wonder if you can get a workspace that loads your daily note. So if I'm in writing view, it'd pop open my calendar. I really only want this sidebar open. I want my daily note, whatever the day is though. I don't want it to like just one specific daily note. I want it whatever the day is. Let's watch this video. Probably taking notes on it though, because that's what we do. It's the title of this. Yeah, you can't collapse. I don't actually do this. I use the command palette a lot. Sidebar, right? I can toggle them with Shift Command E, right? But like if I want to go from this to like something with all my sidebars, it would be nice to have them just pop in with like a single load workspace, choose my new workspace. Okay. So normally if I was watching this video, I'd actually put it up somewhere else. But instead, let's go like that, I guess. Oh, I think I hear a kid up. 1 second. Let me go see what kid wants. Kid is not bleeding. Kid is just wanting something and mom's not up yet. Really dumb question. Why the tags not start with why the actual double brackets? You, my friend, want to look at this video here called Tag Notes. That's the one you want to look at right there. This is why I do it like that. What app do I use for window management? Whatever's in setup. No. I use Mosaic. It's just, that's what works. It's what's there. So my default to like anything is to go to setup and see what setup has, because I already pay for setup, and why would I pay for other stuff? Right? Like I have set HTTP request stuff like that. I can measure UI stuff. I can do a whole bunch of stuff. So Syzy is an awesome thing for web developers. It like lets you inspect multiple web browsers at once. Multiple screen sizes. That's cool. Open-in is like what I use for opening all my links, because I keep my work stuff in Chrome and my personal stuff in Safari. So it lets me like choose and define in some instances what like a link coming from Reich always goes to Chrome, because that's a work thing. You're welcome, Ryu. the sound of the video doesn't go through. That's not my intention. I promise I've done this before. That is not intentional. I thought you were hearing the video. That was super boring then, just to watch me sit silently on this, wasn't it? Now I feel like bummed about that. How did I do that before? I've totally had this before. It's gonna like be something I work out on my own later, isn't it? You can't even see any of these eCam settings. Audio. It says you can't see this. It says when in screen share mode, you should be broadcasting the audio, and it's not doing it. That's super lame. Can you hear it now? Can you hear this? I'm gonna say no. Because that's something I have to figure out later. So that was super boring for you. He basically showed you how to use Workspaces. Wasn't like a big thing. So what else could I use as a workspace? I could probably use a book review one, in which case I would go like this, split vertically, because that's what I would do. I'd have my notes for the book on one side and then my other stuff. And so this will save as a workspace. Let's actually go Workspaces, Manage. Workspaces, I want to save this as book review, save. That was super lame. It's eCam says it can do it. It says it can do it. I'm going to have to totally like search for that now. Why doesn't it do it? I feel really annoyed. Just need to spend another couple $1,000s on a different audio system. Probably not going to happen. To get the A10, honestly, I probably just need to get the A10 Mini ISO to start instead of the really expensive one with more camera inputs. And once streaming actually, makes some more money than very little, I could then do it. Looking for this forum post, that's what I'm looking at. I don't know if it's gonna have my answer, but yeah, so I had looked at Loopback as well, Fabrice, and it lets me put together like composite audio devices, but I didn't pay for it, and it was $90. And honestly, I just don't have the money right now to pay for it. But I've totally done this before where I shared, I wonder if you could hear it on... Like, do you hear that?
So we got a call for a Toyota 4Runner that's stuck in some mud up the Baker Reservoir, up kind of in the Vail area. So we're going to head up there and see if we can get them out.
Well, it's a little cloudy. Gonna get hot today, about 111.
Do you hear that? 'Cause that's playing off my iPad. And yes, I do watch Matt's off-road recovery. I'm going to totally save that for later, because I will watch his video later. Yes, you do hear that, Jake. You gotta do that next time. I actually would normally do, like, this is how I would normally do this type of research. Like that. I'd have this video over here, and I'd have my stuff there. Barely, James. Well, I can adjust the audio volume, James.
So I've got me and
Crank
Ed
up the audio
in
volume
Corvair.
to whatever I want, really.
Rudy's following us in his Jeep with Lizzie and Tim, and then Trevor's going to be meeting us up there.
So I get a little bit of lag in the video. That's probably not going to be a big deal. So I could actually make it even louder. Now you can see some of the videos I watch. I watch a lot of StarCraft videos. Not that I even play, but I do watch a lot because I enjoy them. I watch Loco, Lowko. I could do that and do a video stuff that way. How's it going, James? I was watching, James, you missed it. YouTube. I watched, what was your most recent one? Organizing notes, spaces, note cards. I like that video, James. Good job. Oh, look, and it's even picked up that on the other side I was watching this video in my iPad. Let's share the link with you guys. This is a good video from James. I enjoyed his organization stuff, so good job, James. Thanks for the video. Thanks for sharing with us. I was actually starting to wonder, James, was like, when's this next video coming out? And then you said you had trouble. Stuff comes up. I get it. Stuff comes up. So, especially when you're starting, stuff comes up. So this forum post says, hey, I'd really like to be able to open daily notes. There's a newer one. Open FR. Feature request, okay. Yeah, that one. This isn't closed either. Let's add my name to it. So I guess I don't. So I could do like daily note. I really just need this open, and then I could save this as a daily note and then use my hotkey to open the daily note when I get here. And I actually have a button on my Stream Deck that opens, takes me to Obsidian and opens today's daily note. So when I click the Obsidian button, it just defaults to today's daily note. So if I do like that, it would do it. And right, if I went to, if I close this again, grab Safari and hit my Stream Deck button. Oh, default switched back to me. There you go. So I have that already. So do I need it? I don't know. I just basically am saving this panel settings. So in which case I would go to The thing is, I gotta do multiple actions then in the workspace, right? I gotta open workspace, so I'd go load workspace, and then I have to choose the workspace, and then I'd have to use my keyboard command. So it's like an extra click, an extra click. I'd prefer to have not extra click. I'd prefer not to have an extra click. Guess I'm going to have to start with this. So let's go workspace, save. It's my default? Default. Yeah, that's my default. It'd be like that. So now I could say workspace, writing. That works. Daily note. So I could do that. Guess that works. I'd still really like to have my daily note show up. Just show up. That would be even better. That would be even better. These are not scripts for my video either. Like I use these more as outlines. Actually, I did some yesterday there. It's literally just bullet points because that's what it is. And I'll probably keep them up on my iPad and record here. So my plan for these is to do as much production as I can, just like I do now, like right via my Stream Deck, because it'll just be less work for me. Less work. And then I need to get this course out. I want to get it out. Oh, I'd love to be able to say I can get it out by the end of August. And then I'm going to finish building my membership site. I'm on Statamic right now for my CMS. I'm going to pull it off that, put it into WordPress. I've got some file conversions to do for like 3,000 markdown files. But I basically got that worked out. Then I'll import them all back into WordPress. I'm going to lose a bunch of images, which is fine. And I'll put in the last couple hundred images, and then I will use Memberful, and I'll probably start a members newsletter as well for some stuff like, hey, I found these extra videos interesting this week, stuff like that. So the members newsletter will be very inexpensive, and then also drop all my courses in there via a Lifter LMS probably. Which I can give all members access to, and it'll be a little bit higher price point. And then you get basically all my courses, and I'll dig up all the books I wrote before too. On freelancing, on time blocking, everything, and drop all those in there for all the members that are a little bit higher tier. So, and then there'll be annuals if you want annuals as well. So that's my plan. But I gotta get this finished first. This has been just dragging on way too long. So. we go. Right, I've already got this done. I'm not sure I'm going to include that one, but let's drop it in there. I already did that video on migrating from Craft to Obsidian. Other Obsidian features, random notes, markdown converter. What other Obsidian features do we want to talk about? Maybe this isn't even other Obsidian features. Maybe this is random notes, tag notes. What else would be good in there? Making Obsidian work for you, making connections is the big thing. I don't know if I showed this on stream, but something I'll do less than I should is go random note, online trolling, and I should look at, this would be another workspace, online disinhibition effect, right? And I could look at, so online trolling, actually, this is probably better as, internet troll. Okay, good. And I should probably go YAML aliases online trolling is better. Let's delete that note. Oh, that's probably not what I should have done. I can't undo it. So let's go to search and find trolling. That's good. There was another one in there. Disinhibition effect, wasn't it? Inhibition effect, there you go. Online trolling is in there. Let's take that out and go internet troll. Good. So the random note, like I'm going through and like cleaning up my database with it, stuff like that. It's similar to a wiki system. I think the power comes from doing stuff for you like right now, where I am working to make more connections. Right, so like I just kind of cleaned up some of my stuff, and this would actually be, oh sorry, a tag note. And so what I use tag notes for you, although you can find this in the video, is if I go to my graph view. This is super slow right now. This is not how slow it works. You can see I have tag notes are blue, and so then I would look for big blue notes. Like what stuff that's getting big that has connections. COVID-19 has a lot of connections right now. What else? Right, I'm looking for blue notes that have lots of connections. Blogging, that's a silly one probably. Oh no, that makes sense. This was like UI research on blogging. Right, and I kind of dropped the writing idea and tag note are probably the same, but what I'm looking for in this is like things or blue notes that have lots of connections. Here's one right here, community. I knew that was gonna, like, I would like to write about community more at some point, community structure, stuff like that. I can see in here there's some like writing ideas that kind of go in there. So that's how I use tag notes, and the video goes into it too. Let's do another random note. Random note. So much knowledge, but no learning. So then I could probably tag this as and disconfirmation bias, because that's what both of those are. So confirmation bias is when you look for things that confirm your thing, your ideas, and disconfirmation bias is when you look for stuff that disconfirms things you already don't believe. So what's the other one? Manufactured doubt. This probably goes into manufactured doubt as well. So manufactured doubt was a tactic used by cigarette companies in the 70s, 60s, where they basically said, hey, there's the other things you should be concerned about that's not smoking. That which is also the same as, what is it called now? Fake news. Split vertically, right? So if I go to manufactured doubt, I got aliases that's fake news, misinformation, alternative facts, and then disinhibition effect. When you shield it from face-to-face response to the people you interact with online, you can easily adopt a different form of personality. In short, you become an asshole. So then I'd also say here, so it'd be relate these two together. Yeah, the online dissipation effect. When you don't want to learn anything, you're just jerkier about it. So there you go. There's another one. Nature versus nurture, which is the science idea of what forms you more. Your nature, so what you are born with, your innate personality, or nurture. Which one brings you unlinked dimensions? Should link that. There we go. Here we go, more connections. What is circle of safety again? Circle of safety means that you feel safe in your work, that you're not going to get attacked, not to fight for your position. The alternative is guarding your fiefdom and attacking others. I am not sure that relates here, though, to this specific idea. That's interesting. Broadbanding pay. It's a really interesting idea. This is to say, like, as a developer, you can get paid more and more and more until you become a senior developer. But then if you become like a manager, you actually may get paid less. So you might go from, say, I don't know, we'll say 150 grand as a senior developer, and as a beginning manager, you're actually less valuable to the company because you're beginning, and so you maybe make 120. But the top out of a manager might be 200K. So then you have to hit the marks to get up to actually more, and this can help stop people, because if you want to be like if you're in many companies, if you're a developer, then you'll senior developer, maybe you'll get paid, and then the only way to get a raise past a certain point is to become a manager. And even if you don't want to, and that will also involve the Peter principle. Which basically says you get raised to the level of your incompetence. Then suddenly you're incompetent and you just can't do it. So broadbanding pay. It's interesting. You get paid less as a manager initially, and that means that you really want the job because you get paid less. And then you have to really want it and then become good at it to actually get paid more. Random note. That's probably actually a whole tag in itself, feel good goals. This is just my idea. Feel good goals. Author, that's Curtis. Now, the question about how I use Obsidian, go for it. And I want to put this into my K writing. Ambitious feel-good goals. I need to start. This is in, should go in writing then, in writing. Yeah. Ha! Okay. So, is there settings for a random note? Open a random note. Okay, well that's there. Exclude random note folders? Like that actually is my my template folder, which I don't really want it to look at. I want the better random note plugin, do I? Smart random note plugin? Is that what I'm looking for? Hey Justin, how's it going? Welcome. Better random note. Open random notes with greater control. All right, let's install that one instead. Enable it. Oh, no, I get 2 random notes. Perfect. Let's go to our, where was it? Core plugins. Turn off this one. Smart random note. How do I exclude a folder though? How do I exclude the folder with smart random note? I don't see a setting for that. I don't want it to always open up. Why is it opening up the same note? Oh, from search. I don't want that. That's why it's opening that. I don't want it from search though. I feel doubtful that the plugin you suggested is the right one. I'm gonna turn it off. Yeah, I don't want the last search. Yeah, I don't want that. I want it like literally to open up just like a random note for me. Like find me a random note. I just want to exclude a couple folders. Right? So it's telling me it's my daughter. That's great. I don't really need that, but online abuse. You know, online abuse and I see online harassment in there is probably the same thing. So I should come over here and open. Delete that. Now I should do a search and search for and collapse results, explain. Another random note. Harvard, just a place. School. We looked at this earlier. Good. And I don't want my daily notes in there. Oh, look, I asked for this. Best of Obsidian winner. I don't even know what that is. What is that? Whatever. Yeah, upon a search result. Yeah. That's what Richard was saying, Justin, that I could do it on search results. So I could do like, means I have to have a search save that excludes certain folders and then say find a random note inside these parameters. I guess so. Okay, so then I guess the question for me is how do I... It opens up in a new window every time, which isn't necessarily what I want. So you have to go to search and have a search that excludes folders. Or match path. it might not be hard to make a plugin. And honestly, I assume I could do that since this is web and I build websites, but I'm never going to do it. I'm just not going to. Search operators. I can't turn off the new window in the plugin settings? Okay. So file path will perform. So what I'd have to do then is I'd have to do like path includes notes and tags. So I do path notes and path tags, like that. Oh, I don't want that. Path matches notes. Path matches tags. I'm not publishing my vault at all, Justin. Without publishing the entirety of it, I don't think it's useful, and I don't want to. The parts of my vault I publish are the parts I talk about by publishing them on my blog. That's where you get to see finalized thoughts. So path matches text, path matches tags. And so that means I need to go back into core plugins and turn off random note, go into community plugins and turn on smart random note. Am I just missing it? There it is, smart random note. Open a new leaf, I guess that's the, so then I'd say spring notes. I think based on my folders though, Richard, like I'd want to exclude boards and book list and books. Probably not books. I could probably include books because that's just actually books I've read and have notes on. Or books to read. I don't want that in there. I don't even want clients in there, and I don't want courses in there, and I don't want craft in there, and I don't want daily in there, and I don't want like, I think that I am much better to just say I want notes and I want tags, and that's it. And so notes, tags, and I could probably put in books like that. Then I would hit no search results available. Oh, because it include all. So how do you do or? Operators match case. Let's do or any of, there you go. Yeah, I could, and I could also filter by tag notes if I want to look through the ones that are like kind of like the bigger ideas I'm thinking about. So the big thing, Justin, is about publishing my thing. I just feel like there's too much too much that's still in my head, that connections, like I don't know. I'm sure somebody would get utility out of it, but I think the utility is in me finalizing thoughts. I think that if you want to see what my vault kind of looks like in action, like day to day, the messiness, then come to the stream. I think that if you want to see like my final thoughts, then come see them, watch the stream. So hang on, split vertically, but let's go to Workspace, manage, let's say random note, save. Does it actually search, save, load Workspace, random note? It did. Okay, so Richard, I take back my poo-pooing of this plugin maybe, because now it saved my search. I can confirm that it's there, and I can do a random note tag as well to have one that had tag note in it, but now I can actually limit and say like I'm only seeing these things graded by average. That's from the end of average. Average equals normal. Does this come from? Oh, these come out of the same book, really. So this is page 35. Yeah, so one thing I did was, I have done bad at keeping it up though. Go to files. What did I call it? Areas of focus. It's an idea I had. I talked with a research scientist about this, and he, like, what are the 4 or 5 areas that are the most important to you that you need to really know, so that when a colleague comes up to you and says, hey, what do you know about A, B, and C, like this idea here, and he say, oh, and he could pull out his phone and say, here is the summary of what I know on the subject at the moment, right? 4 or 5 paragraphs of kind of, I have a brief summary of, like, he actually deals with like deep seawater animals that hold their breath a long time. And so, like, here's the 4 or 5 areas in my field that I really need to focus on. And then he could look at them, and then he could also say, he's like, okay, and I kind of go through this every month or every quarter and summarize it all. And he would have like his extra, so this is like ideas are electric cars aren't the solution to community problem, because they're still cars. They still basically force the same infrastructure. They just change the fueling needs. And they're actually often heavier than regular cars, so they're a bit more likely to kill people. This is another thing in community building, right? So another thing I was just looking at yesterday with a book that's coming up is that forget speed limits, design streets that force it to be safe. So basically design streets that make cars feel like it's more dangerous by having less visibility, by having closer in trees, stuff like that. And so then cars slow down. And then, right, so I could like, that would be talk about community building. Like if you want to build a community that feels safe for people, that's one of the things you need to do. So I'd summarize that. Or note taking, right? I'd summarize that. And I'd kind of distill my current area of focus, my current thinking down to 4 or 5 paragraphs. So that when someone asked, well, what do you know about community building, I could just look it up and have it right there and say, oh, and there's these 3 other ideas that I just haven't integrated into the corpus of my knowledge yet. So that is one thing that could help, and also help you like go through summarizing. So spending time actually summarizing. One thing I asked him, and he's a research scientist, is it your actual job to make these connections? Is this a crucial job function? He said yes, and I said, so why aren't you doing it? Like, why are you not doing this? Like, spend a half an hour on Fridays to like go through and make connections. It is your crucial job function, so do it. Right? Yeah. It's my crucial job function to program and like keep my staff working. So if I'm not doing that, I'm literally not doing my job. And of course, no one would say, well, just don't do it then. But it's very easy for people to say, like, writers to not, oh, I didn't make more connections today. I didn't really dig. Well, that's because why? Because that's the hard work, right? You only get paid for hard work. You bring value with hard work, not with like the easy stuff. So do the hard stuff. Do the hard stuff. You only are valuable for your hard work. That's probably even a good writing thing. Yes, very much goes with Cal Newport stuff. I'm trying to think. I read this really recently. Where did I read this recently? Inbox page for hard work. Value. There you go. This is how I go. Feel like, oh. No. What? Oh, life lived remotely. I just talked about this. There you go. So that should be a video at some point, blog post at some point coming up. And this is how I connect ideas. This is how I come up with stuff. I haven't actually done a lot of like thinking ones. Although honestly, I was looking at my reading for the year, and I know I often review books on Fridays, but the truth is I have read a lot more fiction books, and I don't usually review fiction books. So I'm going to start digging into more of my ideas, I think, for my Friday videos. To read, this should be in book list. Oh, probably book list is included in books. That's why this shows up. Because book list, books. What does my search say? It says books. I'm not sure why this might be misfiled then. Oh no, books to read is where that should be. Ah, that's why. Books to read. Okay. The high value task stuff, Justin. REM sleep. Have a good sleep, Ryu. Thanks for showing up. I think last time you were riding the subway or train or something. Hopefully you're all safe. Have a good sleep. I wouldn't even be up till 10, but I usually go to bed like 9 o'clock, but I also get up really early. Factory work. Link. The attention capital principle, all from our world to that email. The productivity knowledge worker sector means significantly increased if we identify workflows that better optimize the human brain's ability to sustainably add value to information. The attention to capital principle is really interesting from World Without Email. Cal Newport really thinks that, just like the Industrial Revolution, when we moved from like me building one car to like cars traveling down a factory and everyone doing their thing, like going to where the workers are, that knowledge work is poised at that point as well right now. Where they, where we're going to see a similar productivity increase when someone finds the right combination of ideas. And he thinks, I don't think boastfully, he says that in this book that he is probably a piece of that, like some of the stuff he's been thinking about is a piece of that, but that he doesn't have it yet. And someone, maybe not him, will actually bring this forward at some point. So, yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting thought, interesting idea. Oh, I've answered this one now. I don't really need that, but I'm not going to deal with it in a moment. Shadow work. The work we have to do that used to come from interacting with the company. You used to get checked in for your airplane ride. That's an interesting idea too. But now you have to use self-check-in. At the grocery store, you can scan. This actually goes with split a life lived remotely. It does need to make, Justin says, the work world, I think, needs to make a shift toward holistic life thinking to help make the shift Newport is talking about. So the company I work for is actually pretty good about this, I think. Like they know we have kids and other stuff. Kids show up in meetings sometimes. You can hear my kid banging on the door. I'm going to go get them in trouble. Hang on a second. There you go, we're back. They do pretty good about that. So I should probably refactor this note right here. Refactor. And this really should not be that. It should be work 06 8. This is from a life lived remotely, block 13, employee shadow work. There we go. Tag note. Here's another kid. Does not help that my wife is not a morning person, so she's supposed to be up with the children, but is clearly not. What is that book called? Not the end of average. Yeah, that was my 4-year-old this time. What's the book called? I'm looking for it now. Not range. The Death of Expertise, that's what it's called. You'll look at making this connection and then we'll go. What does that one actually say, though? Cool. Well, that was my extra connections. That's what I try to do with my random notes regularly. More regular than I actually do, to be honest. I just don't do it as much as I should. So, I think that's it for today. I'm going to sign off. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for supporting. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for coming by. We'll do this again next week, I think. Let me just make sure. There's another holiday coming up. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do it or not. Yeah, Friday I'll do it. Yep, 13th we're in still. 20th we're in still. Yeah, oh, it's probably not till the 3rd of September. 3rd of September. Not sure about 3rd of September, but other than that, we're in for the next number of weeks. That's not true. 20th? 20th, I'm going away with my wife. So I'm not sure if I'll stream that morning on the 20th because I'm going to cut out of work like noon that day to go away for the first time in a year with my wife because because it's been a year since we've gone away and my in-laws are out and they have said they will watch the children overnight, which is excellent. Let me tell you, in the middle of the pandemic, it was like a revelation, wonderful thing that my 10-year-old became 10 and I could then leave her at home according to the laws in Canada and with her sisters. And I live like 1 block from the coffee shop, like 1 block from like a restaurant and stuff. So we could walk down there and leave a phone with her and we could just like literally, I could be back in probably 60 seconds if I have to. That was like amazing. That was amazing because we didn't have any dates for like a long time until she turned 10. And then we could go do stuff, go for a walk, go for a run, stuff like that, which was like wonderful. Anyway, thanks for showing up. Thanks for your questions. Thanks for your input. Richard, thanks for that plugin and for dealing with me when I didn't realize what I could do. And thanks for dealing with Justin too, who just said the same thing. He tried to like steal your idea. Justin, terrible, terrible. I'm just joking. Have a good day. Try to behave yourselves today.